Today we're going to be discussing if you have Achilles tendon pain with a calf raise. This is something that you may want to consider to modify the exercise to your comfort so that you can perform the exercise much more frequently. If you're dealing with someone in pain, you're going to want to try to do something on a day-to-day basis, as well as something that's a little bit more aggressively, maybe 1 to 3 times a week. So there's a way that we can modify the calf raise with your knees straight to take away the discomfort in the Achilles tendon.
Now, the common calf raise that you will see is someone performing a two-legged heel raise on a slant board or off the edge of a step. You can do it with 2 legs, or you can just load 1 foot at a time for a more aggressive strength training version. You can also add weight or decrease the intensity to body weight. 2 feet obviously being easier than 1 foot. Now, the problem most people will run into with this exercise is because it's through a large range of motion, some people will develop, or they already have, Achilles tendon pain that going through this large range of motion just isn't comfortable, confident, or enjoyable to load with a weight or load frequently. That might be recommended if someone is dealing with pain from a rehab standpoint to try to do this on a day-to-day basis.
So most of the time someone's dealing with an Achilles tendon issue, the pain is down at the base of the Achilles, right where it inserts into your heel. Now, the reason why the pain is oftentimes worse here is because as you stretch the Achilles tendon and as your shin moves forward, the tendon's going to lay down over top of the bone and it's going to create a little bit more of a compressive force. Now, it doesn't actually happen that way. That's a very crude way of putting it, but that compression force that you feel into the tendon is oftentimes where people will experience pain. It's no different than if you had pain in your butt cheek and you sit on a hardwood chair. The more compression that is applied to the tendon, the more and more sensitive it becomes in general. So if you're dealing with Achilles tendon pain, putting the foot into a stretched position may not be the most comfortable thing to start off with.
Now, before you go off and try to quickly modify the exercise, my first suggestion would be to reduce the load. So if you can't do 2 feet on the slant board through a full range of motion, then what you need to do is you need to start decreasing the amount of stretch that you go through. The easiest way to do this is by going to flat ground. And when you're on flat ground, you can go through the same progression of 2 feet to 1 foot body weight to 2 feet loaded to 1 foot loaded. Now, in some instances, this still may be sensitive for an individual who has a very acute Achilles tendon issue. So what you may want to do here is elevate the heel by turning the slant board around and doing the calf raise essentially on a hill, or you can lift the heel up by placing some books underneath the heel so that you modify the range of motion even further so that you can comfortably load through a range of motion that feels enjoyable for you at the current moment in time.
Now, depending on the height of your slant board or the amount of incline or heel elevation that you create, you can go too high to where the sensation of the calf raise will start feeling more crampy just because you're getting into such a shortened range of motion. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad thing because you'll feel it in a different area than down low at the Achilles heel, but you're going to feel it a lot more crampy up into the calf muscle. Now, this isn't a bad thing. Just keep in mind that you're working through a very shortened range of motion. And it's actually this range of motion that if someone had an Achilles rupture, whether that's surgically repaired or conservatively treated through exercise, this is one of your beginning entry points to strengthening the Achilles tendon. And many people who overstretch Achilles ruptures or Achilles surgeries, this is the range of motion that they cannot obtain if they move too quickly into stretching the Achilles tendon immediately after surgery or immediately after a rupture. So it is still important, whether this is a tendinitis issue or a rupture, that you do have this maximum shortened position capability of performing a calf raise, both bilateral, both feet, or a single leg calf raise. And then as you get more comfortable going through a full range of motion, we can add to the stretch by flipping that slant board around and going through a full range of motion. Now, in general, the spectrum of easy to difficult is going to be the higher you raise the heel, the easier the exercise is going to become from an Achilles tendon standpoint. because you're limiting the stretch of the motion. Now, even if you have a slant board that's a lot higher, just don't go all the way up on top of the slant board. You can find the middle ground of that slant board, and many times that's comfortable for people, or just like a 1 to 2 inch book at home to raise the heel up and limit the stretch that you go under. So this is a very easy way of modifying the exercise to make it comfortable for you so that you don't push through pain, and you can aggressively do many more reps than what you could do otherwise. So this is a strategy to perform an exercise at a high frequency, both from a day-to-day standpoint, but then also from a set and rep scheme to do at a high frequency, upwards around 20 to 30 reps. Now, when we choose to try to push into the stretch a little bit more, you're going to want to do this a little bit more cautiously, especially if you're dealing with pain. Someone who isn't in pain and just looking for performance gains, many times they can just go all the way to doing the calf raise on the slant board or on an incline, or hanging off the edge of a step and going through that full range of motion and that full stretch. That would be the ideal that we're working towards, but you're going to have to operate at your current level of capabilities and what you feel comfortably confident in doing at this moment in time, so that you don't cause any type of lingering discomfort. So that's where 1 to 3 times a week we're pushing into something maybe just a touch more aggressive, where we're going through a little bit more of a stretch. Now that could be from, instead of having the heels elevated, that could be going flat on the ground. Maybe as once flat on the ground gets easy, maybe that starts into building yourself up into an incline and working towards being on a full slant and full stretch. So this is all on a spectrum and something that you're going to adjust as your symptoms start resolving, but this is a strategy to allow you to do this much more clearly in a much more precise manner for this particular exercise. Now keep in mind, there are multiple different calf exercises that you could be applying this towards. We use 4 different exercises in our 0 weak links workout. So if it's something where you're looking to address an Achilles tendon issue, in addition to strength train the whole entire body to build more resistance to injury and shed that injury prone nickname that you may have or currently feel that you are, then I would encourage you to join this 0 weak links workout. You can find it at sportsrehabexpert.com, and it's a 4-phase workout program that takes into consideration every joint in the body. That's why it's named 0 weak links, is because we leave no stone unturned and make sure we address the whole entire body in a holistic manner from a strength and conditioning perspective. And when you join online, I'll be able to coach you through an app that allows me to coach your technique and be with you just as if we were working in person together. So if you're dealing with any type of Achilles issue, knee, hip, low back, this workout is great for you. Again, you can find that at sportsrehabexpert.com. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any questions about Achilles tendon issues, drop them below, or more specifically about any type of calf raises that you are doing, drop your favorite calf raise in the comments below. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so that you can get notified anytime a new video is coming out.